Everybody. It is DeeMcNair, and we are on the air. I'm here with Carolyn Thurston of Wisdom Senior Care, keeping wisdom at home. That's right. And today's show, we've got a goodie for you. You're not only going to be educated, informed, empowered, you are going to feel the compassion of Wisdom Senior Care. Carolyn Thurston, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Let's get this thing started. I am sitting here in the studio today on location with Carolyn Thurston. She and her husband have been serving the community for many years. At this time in my life and many of your lives, we all need a helping hand. And Wisdom Senior Care is here to help. Carolyn, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Well, Carolyn, I didn't want to do too much of an introduction because the history of Wisdom Senior Care goes a long ways.
It does.
And so, matter of fact, this is Carolyn Thurston, but I'm going to let you introduce yourself.
Okay, well, thank you, Dee. I'm excited about being here and being able to share a little bit about the journey of Wisdom Senior Care. Wisdom Senior Care has been around since 2006. And it's amazing, when I first got started, it was just a dream come true to be able to help seniors and be able to help seniors stay at home. And that was always my thought. Even when I was in high school, I envisioned a business of my own. And I thought it was going to be an adult daycare, but I realized that the population was growing and that people were living longer.
Living longer.
Yes.
Thank you, Jesus.
Yes. And my father, just a little bit of my background, I had actually had the opportunity to travel to many different countries. And I noticed how they took care of their older population. And they seemed to honor them. And in the United States, I didn't always see that. I saw that people would reach a certain age and it was kind of like, oh, they were through, you know?
And we're not through.
We
have a lot to offer. And not that I'm that old, but I still have a lot to offer.
We do. And so what I envisioned was something that seniors could feel that they were still needed. You know, you could learn so much, hence comes the name Wisdom. You know, you have the opportunity to serve seniors, but then we get back from them so much wisdom that if we listen, it can help prevent us from maybe taking some wrong turns. We can get to our destination a lot quicker. So when 2006, I got the opportunity to start Wisdom Senior Care, I was just really excited about that. And then we just envisioned, let's help keep wisdom at home. If you read right now the statistics, and if you were to ask any senior person that is around the age of 80 plus, where would they like to stay to continue out their life? Over 85 to 90% of them would tell you, I would like to stay in my own home. So that is truly wisdom's desire. Now, their home can be their own personal home. They could have moved in with their children. It's wherever they consider to be their home at that time. So wisdom's goal is to help them be able to stay there, but not just stay at home. We want them to be happy.
Happy at
That's
home.
important, right?
Well, I think when you and I were chatting before we came to this opportunity, I was sharing with you one of my visions and one of the things I do. And, you know, I believe that we have to take care of others so they can stay at home. So it's, you know, it's taking care of, you know, our own so they can stay on their own. And Wisdom Senior Care helps us, me, the community, do that. But you do it by also educating. It's not just a service.
No.
There's a heart that beats around the service, around the resources, around the information, around the tools. And so you said 2006.
Yes, 2006.
Now, when all businesses start, we all know that there's a revamping, there's a restructuring, reorganizing. But for Wisdom Senior Care, it really wasn't a business, in my opinion.
Not when it first got started. And you know, I had no business background whatsoever. So I probably, on statistics wise, my background is a registered nurse. So, you know.
And I think that's important. I will interject there. If you are looking to support your family's needs, your seniors' needs, your cognitively impaired needs, whatever, make sure the resources you're tapping are appropriate for the need.
True.
And
Absolutely.
a registered nurse is a very qualified individual to
Yes.
get you started.
It is.
And most often can provide many of the services that are needed. But you were saying you didn't have a business background, registered nurse.
No business background, but I knew I loved people, and I just set out on the mission just to start helping seniors, and things just started happening where business just kept coming. 98% of Wisdom Senior Care's referrals came from word of mouth. People would tell family, friends, neighbors, this is a great place. You know what they really like? Is that we take the time to, as Dolores mentioned, we educate our staff. We're not a staffing company, and I tell people,
Amen.
We take the time to really educate our staff. We give them opportunities as far as personal growth, professional growth. There's so many ways that they can grow even in their career, and personally as well. So we take that time, we invest in them, but one of the main qualifications you have to work with Wisdom Senior Care is you have to be compassionate. And if you don't have that compassion, people can't even fake that, But if you don't have that compassion, you would not make it with us. But we appreciate the opportunity that we have to educate our staff, but we also take pride in educating the community. Okay. We go out, we seek, and you get so overwhelmed because all this happens to most people all at one time. We want people to start thinking about this now. If you're my age,
so proactive thinking.
Proactive thinking. You're my age, you probably have a mother, father, you could have both of them right now. And if you're married, you can have a mother-in-law, a father-in-law. And believe me, the time is going to come that they're going to need some help. And so why not start having these conversations now? So what do we talk about? That's what Wisdom does. We go further beyond. We're setting up community events where we want caregivers to come so you can be educated about what's out here, what resources you can look for, because there are quite a bit, but you really want to be mindful about who you allow to come into your personal space. You want to make sure they're the right type of caregivers. And we've even done some videos to help people try to figure out, sometimes people say, should I go with an agency or should I hire an independent person? And there's pros and cons to both. Yes. So just go and educate yourself so that you can be more empowered. And when you make that decision, it will be made not on a lack of knowledge, but you would have educated yourself and you'll feel better about whichever choice you make.
Well, I'm aware, and I'm not sharing anything that's not public knowledge, so we are not going to be using specific names.
Yes.
But I'm aware of an acquaintance of mine that had reached out to me and had need for services, and that was more than 4 years ago, I believe. And over time, because of just challenges or concerns and costs, not with any particular agency, just everyone wants to take care of their loved one on their own. We want to not just save money, but we want to do it ourselves.
We do.
And you mentioned that word overwhelmed.
Overwhelmed.
And they realized that as much as they loved their family member, their compassion alone was not enough. They needed someone else to come with passion. That's what Dee says. Is a compassionate person is a person that comes to every situation and every environment with passion. Passion for the need of the current situation. Yes. And so finally, they reached back out to me, and I had been chatting with you offline. And when they connected with Wisdom Senior Care, the weight was lifted. Yes. The burden was lifted. Yes. But my understanding is one of the things that was different than traditional agencies or traditional caregivers or volunteers was a full assessment was done, both emotional, mental, and physical health of the client, the patient, the family member, but also of the caregivers in that environment. Could you tell us about, broadly, but that assessment process?
Yeah, so we find it's very important. We offer a free complimentary assessment. It's not
free. I'm sorry, I just had to say it. Free.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay, it's free. It's free.
No obligation.
No obligation.
Yeah. So that's an opportunity that we can come and educate you more about wisdom, but we also want to look at the physical needs that a client may have, medically wise, but also emotionally wise. And you have to remember that we're coming into somebody's personal space. Think about your home and how how precious that is for you. Some people, you just don't invite everybody into your home,
no,
right?
you don't.
So just think, when you get an opportunity to go into someone's home, that means they trust you. You know, and we find that when we go, we want to make sure, let's look at the whole environment. So we're assessing the whole environment, whether they have animals, whether they live with other children in the home. That way we can assure that we put the right type of caregiver in the home. See, that's what we take a lot more time and effort to make sure it's the right connection. And I tell our clients, I say, you know, we don't always get it right, but you know what? We have learned, and we're good, because we'll get it about 98% of the time. And if the 2% that we don't, we want you to give us feedback. We have no problem in correcting that. And people have found that that's one of the things that they really like. So we do this assessment, give you an idea of what we can do, but we also want to hear what you want, because it's the family, it's the client who is asking us to come in. So we're not like a hospital where you go, you know, hospital, you got to do what they say at the time they want, right? This is their home. So you can tell us, if I don't want to get up until 10 o'clock, then that could be my right? I'm a late riser, so I want to get up at 10 o'clock and I want to have my breakfast at 10 o'clock. Well, in the hospital, you couldn't do that. You got to have breakfast at 7 o'clock. And, you know, so it's really personal, and we develop this plan of care. And that way, when that caregiver comes in, they're able to follow that plan.
So plans can be revamped.
Yes,
they can be modified. And I think that's another sign of wisdom, is recognizing that no person, no service, no one, nothing is perfect, at least in this world. But the important thing is when we recognize that, okay, we have even more opportunities to grow, to perfect, to improve. You're saying that you've come in, you've done the assessment, and all parties are happy with the process. We've been, you know, meeting the need, and the family, you know, is happy. The patient, the client is happy. But 9 months into it and 2 days, we realize, okay, all of a sudden they're no longer an early riser, or they're no longer a late riser, or now they want to skip breakfast, or maybe they don't want their bath in the morning. They want their Wisdom Senior Care can modify that.
Yes, we can.
Yeah.
And I think that's important too, what you're stating, Dolores. People have to remember things don't stay the same ever, as we're all aging. So every day things are changing. And I always tell even our staff here, if we stay the same, we're not growing, right? So but actually things don't stay the same, because if they could go backwards, you know. So that's why you always want to monitor things and make sure that the steps you're taking are the appropriate ones for right then. So it's a continual assessment, and that doesn't just happen when the nurse comes in. We have a very trained caregivers that can come out, and constantly there's communication going on. And that's another key thing that is so important.
Open communication.
It has to be.
Now, open communication, does that mean that you are providing needs, you know, and filling the need for my family, and maybe I realize at 1 minute before you're arriving, I have a concern. I not only can talk to the person who's coming into my home, I can still reach right back out to senior care, Wisdom Senior Care, because you're here.
We're here.
You know, because you're an active, integral part of the services here, along with your husband, Charles.
We are. We are. And if I can state too, I guess this is where teamwork comes in, because, you know, when I originally first started Wisdom Senior Care, we probably started off just like a mom and pop type thing. So now we've evolved more, and so it's growing larger. But the only way you're able to grow is the fact that you bring some additional persons on. And so that's what Wisdom Senior Care has been able. We're not afraid to train other people to be able to assess what those needs are. Do what Charles and I would do, because then we can help more people. We can go out and provide more job opportunities for people in the community. We can provide more good quality care for the seniors in our community and help them all be able to stay at home. But if we're just stuck at one place and we have nobody else who can do it but just us, then it's only a limited amount of people that we can help.
I've heard reliability in what you just said. So partnering with any agency, any service, any caregiver, it's important to look for that opportunity to have continuity of care.
It's important.
In the hospital, if your loved one becomes acutely ill, the nurse who has been caring for them for 10 days can be in the Bahamas. And there's another nurse that's going to come and meet that need. They can be celebrating, their wedding.
That's
and
right.
there is a doctor, someone who steps in.
Yes.
And when you're looking for resources, and I'm speaking some from the heart, I am very fortunate. In my family, we live numerous generations. The oldest living person before they died was 116 years old. And they were not in 116, they were not in a facility. But what became challenging as they continued to age was dependability.
Yeah.
The ability
Yep.
to find family members who
Yes.
could come up and help with those loved ones. And now that I am seeing some additional family members age, that was a challenge.
Yes.
I have not needed full service care, but having that reliability that you're talking about. So think about that, you
Yes.
who are viewing us today.
Yes.
As you're looking for services of any type, make sure that there is a backup plan in place.
I love how you put that, because families do want to take care of, and I really want you to think about how much better you could take care of your loved one by having a backup plan, because it's so important for you as the primary caregiver to have respite time.
So Carolyn, a lot of people may not know what that word respite means. What does respite mean?
So respite is a time for you as the primary caregiver to take time for yourself. And it can be anywhere from 2 hours a day, maybe to you want to go on a trip. And you want to go for maybe even 3 days.
Oh, wow.
Right? And then you can have reassurance that someone like Wisdom Senior Care will put quality caregivers in place so you can go away with a peace of mind.
Peace that surpasses your understanding, because
That's right.
it's challenging.
Right. It's very challenging. And Wisdom, we really want to educate the community, because we even know in our community there are quite a few people that are taking care of a loved one, and I call it in silence in their home. They don't want anybody to know for whatever reason. And it's not something to be embarrassed about. It's a great gift, I believe, that you have that opportunity and that you can do it if it's your own. It could be your spouse. It could be your parent, your grandparent, a great friend of yours. But just know you don't have to do it by yourself. There are companies out there like Wisdom Senior Care, and we will bring the right type of caregiver in and allow you that time so that you can regenerate, rejuvenate, and you can be the best you when you're taking care of your loved one.
And Carolyn, I'm smiling because we're very fortunate, Carolyn and I, to have some people in the studio with us today.
Yes.
And they're nodding their heads and they're agreeing. So you may actually hear some people talking in the background, some comments, or people saying yes or because they're agreeing with what we're saying. And you too can be in the audience with us. And how, you say, is by not waiting until you're in a crisis mode. All throughout the show, I've been giving you an opportunity to either get a tip or connect with Carolyn Thurston, with the whole Wisdom Senior Care team, but also with me. I tell you all the time, I want you to connect with me. Carolyn and I are here today because it's not about you and it's not about me.
No.
It is all about the we.
Yes.
I cannot say it enough. I say it every show, but it is.
It really
There is so much more power, strength
That's
in the
awesome.
we.
Yes, it is.
Now I want to ask, even though Wisdom Senior Care is the name,
Yes.
we're not talking about just the 65 plus.
No.
This could be cognitively impaired individual who is 18.
Yes.
Would it be, do you all have the ability to resource out for people who have maybe a young person?
We do.
Okay.
We do. And it's kind of funny if I can share this
No,
story.
please.
So when we first started out in 2006, our actual name was Wisdom Healthcare Solutions. And we just changed our name about 2 years ago. And the reason we did that, because it really just seemed like our main focus was on seniors. So because we have younger clients,
Mhm.
I received a card back from one of my youngest clients, and she was laughing and she says, well, I'm not a senior, but, so she wanted to remind me, you're changing your name to senior, but we do have younger people as well. So we are able to help you. And, that's something else that if you were to reach out to Wisdom Senior Care and there was a need that you had and we could not take care of that need, we have no problem in directing you to the right source. We do have on our staff, which we're very excited to have, a geriatric care management team.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that is...
Okay, may I interject?
You may.
I want to share some of my healthcare background with you. I tell people you go to a specialist when you break a leg and it has not healed correctly. You go to an orthopedic specialist. When you have heart disease in the family and your heart's not as healthy as your doctor would like it to be, you go to a cardiologist.
Yes.
If you are experiencing a true geriatric moment, and I want to just share personally what a geriatric moment is for me.
Yes.
We're talking about someone, in my opinion, who's always 50 plus, usually 55 plus, but they are experiencing the traditional, normally expected aging process,
Yes.
whether it's their diet,
Yes.
exercise, weight gain, lack of weight gain, cognitive impairment. Let me clarify, cognitive impairment doesn't have to be something major.
No.
Maybe they're forgetful. Maybe they're not able to do a task from beginning to end because they can't maintain a train of thought. Maybe this person, due to a stroke, a lot of young people have strokes,
Oh, gosh.
but not the same. We're talking about older. A geriatric person with that background and training has the total platform loaded with the tools, the training, the information, the skill, and the expertise. So that when you are questioning, why is the doctor putting my dad on this medication? They can help you understand that. When you don't understand why the doctor's saying, okay, dad's not eating, but I'm not worried, but this is what he should eat. A geriatric specialist can help you develop meal plans.
Yes.
I mean, you don't always have to outsource to a dietitian, a nurse, a doctor. You can actually start there. And so I just wanted to share that I've had good experiences with, geriatric specialists. And so that's awesome.
Yeah. And we're excited at Wisdom to have a team that came on to be part, because a lot of times they're independent of any agency. But our geriatric care department, they're not just focused on sending people to Wisdom Senior Care. They're focused on the client's needs and what's best into the community for them. So if you have that need, that's something they can reach out to us as well.
And I like to have a little humor. I just thought about something. Wisdom Senior Care. I can see how your younger clients said, well, I'm not a senior, so. But you also talked early in the show about wisdom and the value of wisdom. And wisdom's something we should gain and self not. And wisdom doesn't always come in just the person who's aged.
No, it doesn't.
And so part of me thinks about it in that wisdom is any person, any population that recognizes I have a need, and Wisdom Senior Care can fill the need. Senior tells people that if you are thinking, well, those young upstarts don't know what I'm dealing with, Wisdom Senior Care recognizes the needs of seniors.
That's right.
But ultimately, care. We are caring for our community. I heard you say you're out in the community, you're training, you're educating. So don't think about Wisdom Senior Care as a senior care. Think about they're wise enough to know that seniors are going to age in from the young, but no matter where you are, they're wise enough to be senior in this profession to care for them. So I think that it's the epitome of all that you're doing and how you have journeyed to this spot. Care with your heart. Come with passion to show compassion. Wisdom Senior Care. All those pieces add up to what all of us need. And we definitely have to get together and talk about dementia, but you also said something else, transitions. And I'm not going to tax you with that now. I know, I'm just coming up with more and more information that I personally want, because as you heard Dee say, I live a long time. I said I live a long time in sound mind and body. And so I want to know what I can do to make sure I'm ready to make every transition in life and do it in a successful way. Carolyn, this has been awesome, but definitely we get back together. We need to talk about, so we hold us accountable, audience. We're going to talk about dementia. We're going to talk about transitions. And you know what? I think we need to talk about how Wisdom Senior Care is covering the Carolinas all the way up and down the East Coast and beyond. And so I'd like to invite your wonderful husband, Charles Thurston, because this is a team here, just like Dee is a team with my husband.
Yes.
I'd like to invite him to join us because we're going to talk about dementia transitions, but we also want to talk about the care is not just here.
No, it's not.
Though you may be watching us in the local area,
Yes.
compassion is supposed to go beyond, and that's exactly what you've done.
Yes, ma'am.
Carolyn, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, I have enjoyed this. Guys in the audience, thank you for joining us as well. You have been watching the Dee McNair on the Air show. And so, Carolyn, I'm going to take it out like I always do.
Okay.
Hey, guys, you know what I'm saying? Come on. Say it back to me. It is not about you, and it is not about me. It is all about the we. We're so much stronger together. I love you guys. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
The sandwich generation, a lot of people don't understand what that is, but
the sandwich generation refers to an adult,
maybe at a middle age level,
who's taking care of mom or dad and their children. And oftentimes the person who's doing that care also has a job, and that takes them away from home.
But mind you, you also have a spouse and possibly children and a career of your own. And so now you're faced with the challenge, what do I do? How do I balance all of this?
I have to take care of my kids, I have to work, I have to make sure my parents are okay. So their biggest concern is being able to find a solution to make their life easier.
Also, there are times when that person isn't even in the same state. They could be in Colorado and the parents are in North Carolina. And that's also a concern with the sandwich generation. When it comes time that your parents aren't able to stay safely alone in their home,
In-home care can alleviate some of that stress and strain on family members. We can take care of your senior member in your home.
perhaps they just need their home cleaned. Perhaps they need transportation to places. They might need to have personal care that's not 24/7, but just to get them up, get them dressed, and make sure their meals are okay. And then they can stay safely within their home environment.
Therefore, allowing you to come and just enjoy the time with them. You don't have to be so bogged down with the details of their care. You can just come, relate, talk, laugh, remember the good times, and then go home and take care of your family. You can have some energy to be able to then take care of your career and your life aspirations.